lost. Fought 2 top 5 guys. Lost 2 in a row. I think he's like 14-2 maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And the guy that just fought last Saturday night beat him.
Edson, yeah.
Did Jones destroy
It's all right.
Pruvix?
I mean, he made it look
Turn off
easy.
the
He
music.
didn't. You could tell he liked it.
Pruvix looked big, though.
He's a big dude. I mean, the fact that Jones made it look that easy.
He didn't look steroid. The last couple fights that I've seen that guy, the first time I saw him, he looked steroid now.
Pruvix?
Yeah, he didn't look all shoulder, chest,
Right.
like.
Yeah, he's a big dude though.
Yeah.
It's hard to look big against John Jones too.
Where do you fight?
This one will be at Mandalay Bay. Last one was at MGM.
Oh, wow.
I love Mandalay Bay.
Mandalay Bay is
That's the
sweet.
best
So
place.
sick.
And I think you should say that. Tell us where your next fight is. All right, let's fight.
You're up.
Go
All
ahead.
right.
Rock and roll.
Is it gone?
Yeah.
All right, we're here at Goodwin Chiropractic with Josh Burkman. His fight's May 29th. Just getting tuned up for it. Josh, I've got some questions for you. How did you get into doing MMA?
You know, I grew up playing traditional sports. I wasn't in martial arts and stuff. I played baseball and football in college, and in between semesters transferring from Dixie to the University of Utah, they had some no-holds-barred fights downtown. I heard a thing on the radio. I called up, said, hey, I want to come fight. And they basically said, where do you train? I said, I don't. I play football in college. They said, all right, we don't have a fight for you now. I said, you got to have somebody. They said, we got one guy, he's 9-0. And I was like, perfect, I'll take it.
Jeez.
And I went, weighed in on a Thursday, Friday. I ended up, I lost that fight, but I gave up my scholarship to the University of Utah, dropped out of school, and became a professional fighter that day.
That easy.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I knew I had found my calling and what I was supposed to do. So that was 14 years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Next question. What are some of your greatest moments in the sport?
So the kid that I lost to in the first fight, he armbarred me in the second round.
Ooh.
3 fights later, I rematched him, and I beat him in 3 seconds. That was good. That was vengeance.
That was a good revenge fight.
Another one, just getting onto the Ultimate Fighter, was it was only the second season, and that was probably one of the biggest platforms of my career. It really launched me into the UFC and on a bigger stage. And then the other one was another rematch. John Fitch beat me in 2007, and he beat me pretty convincingly. And then I rematched him, 7 years later, and he was ranked number 3 in the world, and I beat him in 47 seconds.
Yeah, I remember you knocked him out.
Yeah, we choked him out, stood over the top of him. We didn't even need the referee. So those are probably 3 of the biggest moments of my career.
Those sounds like some great moments.
Mm.
What is your fighting style?
My fighting style is a mixture of all styles. There's everything, whether it's boxing, whether it's wrestling, whether it's Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, it's all the art of fighting, right? So I made it my own style, and it's American Who Hit You. People were like, well, why who hit you? I said, because when people get done, people ask them who hit you. So it's basically anything that works for my body style. I try to learn from everybody. I take what works for me, and I leave what doesn't. And I call it American Who Hit You.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You mix them all together?
Mix them all together.
Nice.
That's what our sport is, mixed martial arts. A combination of everything that helps prevail in a fight.
What are some of the major injuries you've gotten?
I've had a lot. Luckily, I haven't had any surgeries or anything like that. But I've had a herniated disc in my neck, a broken foot, a broken arm.
Oh, jeez.
Broke my nose. A lot of simple injuries. It took a period of time to recover, but nothing that was career
Nothing that kept you out for a while.
Yeah, I've still had no major surgeries after
That's good.
14 years of being a professional fighter. So
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What has been your toughest challenge since making your way back to the UFC?
Since making my way back to the UFC,
Yeah.
Hector Lombard. I would think, just getting through that first fight with Hector Lombard. When I got back in the UFC, I had to go through a rib injury, an ankle injury. I got sick, and just getting in the cage with Hector You know, he was ranked number 5 in the world at the time. Was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my career. And since that fight, it seems like everything's been easy. You know,
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah, even though I've had some losses and some things, it's no moment was tougher to overcome than getting into the cage that night.
Yeah, he's a big dude. Tough.
And he was cheating.
Yeah, he was cheating. Up to our next question about cheating. What do you think about the fighters that choose to use performance-enhancing drugs?
You know, I think that everybody has their way to try to compete at the highest level, and I don't judge anybody that I think they're cheating. But I think as long as professional sports are going to be around, athletes are going to try to find an edge, and I just hope that the UFC, the athletic commissions, do their job to try to find, try to clean that up as much as they possibly can. But you look at biking, you look at football, you look at baseball, people are in professional sports are always trying to find the edge, and I wouldn't think that our sport is going to be the one that's going to be clean.
Yeah.
Nor am I judging anybody that, gets caught, except for, they're cheating.
Yeah. What do you think about the huge insurance deal for all the fighters?
It's a big deal, right? Fighters, UFC coming in and giving us, basically protecting us when we're training for fights, protecting us after fights. It's a good step in the right direction as far as taking care of fighters and making sure we have the health care that we need.
Yeah, that's good.
They could definitely do some more, but I'll take what we can get right now. Because the sport's still so young. You know what I mean? If you look at baseball, you look at football, it took a lot of years for these things to develop, and I think that the UFC's actually
not fully developed.
Yeah, and they're developing it faster than any other sport did in their infancy.
Yeah. What are some rules and regulations that help you while you are in the octagon?
The rules now, they're, especially at the highest level, they're real safe, right? You can't strike in the back of the head, behind the ears, which could really hurt or damage somebody. No striking in the spine. You also can't kick down opponents, and then you can't grab fingers and twist them, right? It has to be like a full hand grab.
Yeah.
Because those things would cause guys a lot of problems, So looking in on the sport, you think, oh, this is so crazy. They can do whatever they want. But, there's rules. You can't poke in the eyes. You can't fish hook. I mean, things that they've made the rules so that it is a sport, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them to protect the fighters. The referees do a pretty good job of enforcing those.
Yeah. What rule or regulation would you create as a fighter?
I would say that, they do a pretty good job as far as the rules. I would, in truth, there's not much I would change right now about the sport. I think it's good. I think that there could be some things done with weight cutting.
Yeah.
Where guys, say they're not cutting more than 10 pounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right now, guys can pretty much do whatever they want as long as they make weight. And I think that's fine for us because the sport's new and we're figuring that out. But I don't want to see the next generations of kids and fighters coming up thinking they got to cut a whole bunch of weight to make this weight class. I think kind of like boxing.
Yeah.
Boxing, they weigh in a little early to make sure that they're hydrated. They get cut about, 10 pounds, 7 pounds. And I think another way to do that is, to make sure when you weigh in before the fight, you're not 20 pounds above the weight class, right? So you can cut 10 pounds, but you can't put on more than 20. I think that would kind of balance out the weight cutting and make it a little bit safer and more balanced, keep the integrity of the weight classes together.
Makes sense. How do you feel about the government trying to ban MMA, like in New York and stuff like that? Because I know they just lifted the ban.
Right. I don't understand. I think that a lot of the times the government is not always out for the best for the people or the sport. Sometimes they want to make sure that they can regulate it and control it.
Like have their own control of everything.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's more about control than proper regulation. I think that anybody that sees the rules, the weight classes, knows that this is no different than any other sport, than boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, baseball, football. It's very safe, it's very regulated, and I'm surprised that New York is the last state to pass it.
Yeah.
They should have done it a long time ago.
Yeah, there's going to be a big event there at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, and New York's the one place that I want to fight that I haven't fought. So
You fought everywhere else?
everywhere. Well, I wanted to fight in Chicago. Got to fight in Chicago. I always wanted to fight in Vegas. I got to fight in Vegas.
You fought in Vegas a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, I fought in Vegas about 10, 11, 12 times. So, yeah, I feel like that's my home away from home. But New York City, Madison Square Garden, that'd be pretty cool too.
Yeah. How have Brazil and other countries impacted the UFC today?
Every country, it seems, has their martial art and how they've added to it. And there's countries that are doing that now. But the Vale Tudo, before the mixed martial arts and old guard here was popular, it was really popular in Brazil. And, the Brazilians didn't start the jiu-jitsu, the Japanese did. But then the Brazilians and the Gracies kind of marketed it and really took it to another level. And Royce Gracie, the Gracie family, really is what helped launch mixed martial arts into a popular culture. So Brazil has had a huge impact. They still always have world champions, always have some of the best fighters. And
Like Vitor Belfort
yeah,
and Anderson Silva.
Vitor, Anderson, Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
What's cool about Brazil is a lot of these guys come from really troubled neighborhoods, and it's the drug dealers. There's a lot of crime. Police are tied into that, and it's
Yeah.
really helped a lot of kids in those neighborhoods. I mean, they're the ones that tell me these stories, right? And
Yeah.
it's cleaned up a lot of areas and given kids another shot to basically
Yeah,
make
that's
a
cool.
better
They
life
keep
for
them out of
themselves.
trouble.
Yeah. So, and it seems like the police and the people running those areas, they leave these kids alone and they let them train martial arts, and I think the traditional things of martial arts, have come from a lot of different countries, a lot of different areas, and you start to see that now through the European colony, man. Everybody's starting to.
Like McGregor in Ireland.
McGregor in Ireland, the Brits, there's one of them. I don't know, Bisping.
Yeah, Michael
they're really, it's grown. It's grown,
Yeah.
and it's grown everywhere. UFC's doing shows in China now, and
That's crazy.
Mexico, everywhere. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
How-
the sport is growing, and it's catching soccer.
What advice would you give a young fighter who is interested in pursuing a career in MMA?
I would tell them, to find good coaches. Surround yourself with, good people and a good team, and just basically, dedicate yourself to it. You can do anything you want. Put your mind to it and surround yourself with good people. So, I would find a good gym, a good coach, and a good place to train, and chase your dream.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, good questions, good interview. Thanks,
Yep.
Alice.
Landon, make sure you press play and that all came out.